Recognizes Mr. Olszewski.
Thank you very much, Chairman Smith. Thanks to our ranking member, Jacobs. Thanks to all of our witnesses who will be providing testimony today. Mr. Sparrow, I want to thank you for your many years of service to government here in our country, and I look forward to working with you on this critical issue. I come at this work as a father and someone who has spent my career fighting for kids. And so for me, what is happening to Sudan's children is unconscionable, and it deserves our full attention. We know the images speak for themselves. Starving, and displaced, and traumatized children, makeshift hospitals overflowing with the sick and the injured, classrooms reduced to rubble. Every parent understands the fear of being unable to protect your child. For families in Sudan, this is now, unfortunately, their daily reality. Even places that should offer refuge, like schools and hospitals, have turned into battlegrounds. A recent drone strike on a kindergarten in South Kordofan that killed dozens of children, a drone strike on a school in Kumo that killed school students, and the evidence of mass killings at a children's hospital in El Fashour are just a few of many examples of how children are being explicitly targeted. These attacks are unconscionable. Sudan now represents the world's largest children's crisis. More than 15 million children in Sudan need life-saving assistance. Nearly 4 million children under the age of 5, 4 million children under the age of 5 are experiencing acute malnutrition. More than 6 million children have been forcibly displaced due to the conflict, the world's largest displacement crisis for children. And as we have saw, schools have been turned into shelters or battlegrounds. 90% of school-aged children have no access to formal education, representing the largest education crisis in the world. Girls are especially at risk of sexual violence and trafficking, and young Sudanese boys are being abducted into armed groups and forced into the fight. None of this is inevitable. It is a result of choices made by parties to this conflict and those who enable them. Children are being starved by blocked aid, put in harm's way by attacks on civilian infrastructure, and ignored when negotiations treat their protection as an afterthought. Changing the course for Sudan's children will require focused, deliberate action. So I was here to ask a few questions about the State Department's work specifically on that front. First, given the scale of violence against children in Sudan, how is the State Department prioritizing the protection of children in its diplomatic and humanitarian efforts? And I'm specifically interested in what concrete steps the State Department is taking to ensure that child protection is a central pillar of the U.S. response across Sudan.
Thank you, Congressman. Really appreciate that question and your focus on the issue. This entire issue of civilian protection really is at the core of what's been discussed so far in this hearing, that this crisis is man-made and that this has been the deliberate obstruction and choices made by both the SAF and the RSF, not just to block or prevent the delivery of aid, but also take actions that are harming civilians, including children and others. So our constant focus in our engagements with them and our engagements with all other partners is on the importance of protecting humanitarian workers, protecting civilians, and really choosing to let assistance in and ensure that the people of Sudan are put first, which sadly has not been the case on either side.
Appreciate that. Also wanted to just ask you briefly in my remaining time about unaccompanied children, many of whom who have been arriving in Tawila following the assaults and the attacks that we've seen. Can you talk to me about how the State Department is currently supporting or planning to support children through enhanced protection and a sufficiently scaled up response to address these unique humanitarian needs?
Yeah, thank you, Congressman. As I mentioned in my previous answer, we're in constant contact with humanitarian assistance providers, the UN assistance agencies, as well as direct humanitarian assistance providers, to ensure that we have an understanding both of the level of need that we can provide as well as other partners can provide, but also the conditions that are preventing them from delivering the necessary assistance. And so that's absolutely part of our ongoing efforts. I'd have to refer you back to our assistance experts or to those organizations for specific actions, but there's that constant dialogue to ensure that our support is calibrated with the need on the ground.
I appreciate that. I look forward to working with you. I again want to thank our chairman and ranking member for holding this hearing and lifting up these really important issues. If our country is going to have any sort of moral standing in the world, I think it's critical that the United States play an important role here in the violence, but more importantly, in the fallout that so many innocent individuals are experiencing. I thank you for the time, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.